it's been a while, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Really appreciate everyone's patience. Massive thank you to Alfie and Ethan for this one. Ever since I saw HAAL play a dot to dot, I've been itching to have a conversation with them, and to do it with this format was really interesting. So thank you so much. There's great insight into their practice, their gigs, how they play live, and also just generally what it's like writing within a band. And I feel like if you're at all interested in this is it's a good one. So thank you so much. We'll put all the dates, all the links, they're all in the description. They're on screen now if you're watching on video. Massive shout out to them, thank you so much. Also, there was a distinct lack of Jago on this one. He was out gallivanting in Bristol, being a tour de force in the Bristol drama scene, as well as working. So Jago's not here. Bit unfortunate, but he is back, don't worry. Did make me a little bit nervous. I'm used to having Jago there, so I got into the flow in the end. But yeah, don't worry, he'll be back. Without further ado, roll the tape. Hello everyone, welcome to the Artifex Podcast. I'm joined today by Alfie and Ethan from the band HAAL. Very, very happy you guys are here, and thank you for coming along.
Thanks for having us.
As formal as possible. So obviously we're here to talk about your new EP, and the sort of work that's gone into that, the collaborations, and also just generally the sort of thinking behind it. It looks really, really good. I think that's not really the right word, but it looks amazing. And to see, I think the visual elements coming into that was really, really cool. You work with some amazing artists and different collaborators along the line. So maybe should we just talk about the band generally and talk about sort of what your guys, your aesthetic is, what you guys do, and maybe the music you're putting out now.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. we are a band called HAAL. Me and Ethan, we went to school with each other in Devon, and
Devon,
yeah, I know. Come on,
Devon massive.
Yeah.
And then
whereabouts?
Tiverton.
No way. I'm outside of Exeter.
Really?
Oh, right.
Where?
Oshtry St Mary.
Really?
Come
Tar
on.
barrels.
Yeah, got to be done.
Get the barrels.
Tar barrels. Forgot about that. Set a
That's
tar
crazy.
barrel on fire.
I mean, again, before we recorded, we were talking about how everyone knows everyone. But
Yeah.
and classic. I think most of them from Bristol, from Devon.
Yeah,
Seems
yeah,
like
exactly.
it, yeah.
Sorry, you were saying
what was I saying?
about the band.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So we three of us went to school in Devon,
Mhm.
and then we met Joe when I was in another band
Yep.
called Rainmaker, like back in 2017 or
Mhm.
so. We all moved up for uni,
Mhm.
but really just wanted to not be in Devon, and happened to fall into it really because we just liked music and we all played instruments, and this is what culminated really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, very much that.
Yeah, we literally the first episode that we recorded of this, we talked about that same thing, and I don't know what it is. Even if if you're lucky enough that things are going well for you in Devon, it's lovely. You just have this massive urge to leave after a while, and it's so sweet and quaint, but it's infuriating.
Just nothing happens, man.
Yeah,
like
it's just a bit boring. That's all.
It's really pretty and it's lovely to revisit and go see family and stuff. But the closest we had was Exeter and maybe Plymouth.
Yeah, which are both shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
not the best. Yeah.
We played like my old band. We played Cavern a few times in Exeter, but just just no one came to the gigs really.
No,
like even
no.
our mates didn't come.
No.
And like Plymouth was okay, but it's just a bit too far. So we may
Yeah.
as well made the the decision
Yeah.
to all move up just to try something new that
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
end up working at your school or the local Tesco.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
I mean,
the only options.
I made pasties for a while.
There we go.
Nice.
True Devon
True
fashion.
Devon
Yeah.
fashion. Yeah, cool. And it's nice to have more Devon boys on. I
Yeah.
love it. So, you know, once you got to Bristol, and I mean, again, this sounds like quite a similar timeline that I've talked to different people about. You get to Bristol, you're obviously like pretty cool music scene. You know, how does it start to develop between you guys and the rest of the band in terms of music? And you know, it sounds like from what I gather, it's been a decent amount of time that you've been making music for.
Yeah. So like, it was very much when I moved up. I moved up a year before you,
Yeah.
and it was to do my other band at the
Mhm.
time, Rainmaker, and it's more kind of indie, shoegazy
Yeah.
sort of stuff. It wasn't the type of music I was into necessarily, but
Mhm.
I liked playing drums.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was quite nice to play drums in that
Mhm.
band. And then that kind of dismantled because people lived their lives and
Yeah.
went to other places.
Mm.
And HAAL was very much my own tunes that I'd been making, just noodling on a guitar, and then realised that I lived with loads of musicians anyway, may as well try it out. Basically pissed about for a few years, and there's like a whole catalogue of songs we don't play anymore because it was almost very much a journey to find our sound that we're at now, and it was very tame compared to what we do now.
Right.
And it's not even like it's particularly abrasive or anything like that, but it's a lot more dour and moody.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that at the start because I didn't think we'd get accepted at the time
Right.
in the Bristol scene. And it was very, very much more rock.
Yeah, it's a bit rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to some of it now and it's embarrassing. It's like really bad. I'm like, oh my Christ, what were we thinking?
But that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. If you're not looking back at what you've done and you're embarrassed by it, then
Yeah.
you're probably not doing anything.
No,
right.
exactly. Good way of looking at it.
Yeah. So for you, Ethan, how was it? Because it sounds funny to me. You thinking about you guys as like that sort of rock element.
Yeah.
But what were you always doing that sort of synthesis and the sort of digital elements that you were doing?
I've like produced my own stuff as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I kind of just brought that along to the band. So I had like loads of synths, so I was basically like, I want to use them outside of producing stuff as well.
That was
just
basically it, really, because I've known Ethan since we were like 6 or 7.
Nice. Yeah.
And we always liked metal, so like well into like Slipknot when we were younger.
Nice.
But the kind of crossover with indie and rock and shoegaze and stuff, that's not really your thing.
No, I was never really into that. I was just.
But because we were good mates and we were living together anyway, it was very much a bring your synths to a jam. It might be interesting if we have a 303 like over the top of this ridiculous riff.
Yeah.
And then I suppose that ended up informing the sound because Ethan's so good at like, what would you call it? It literally synthesis, isn't it? Like making a sound. So many times where I will just kind of go, can you make this sound please? Make it go and Ethan go, well of course it's a square wave like with this envelope on it. And it's very useful having someone like that.
Yeah, I could
in the
imagine.
band.
For sure.
And because Eve had already like bought all of the synths, saved up over a lifetime's working in kitchens and spoons and stuff.
Fair play.
We had a lot of gear to mess around with.
Nice.
And it was quite a privileged position really, but it was very much as a result of Ethan's graft, and then you're wanting to do Benson Streaker is his like house pseudonym.
Yes. Nice.
That's the one.
Love it.
And it was a no-brainer really to bring Ethan into the band. And I suppose we've got more and more experimental and dark as the scene's
absolutely
progressed in like last 5 years, I'd say. Like way more so. Like our first gig was before lockdown, and even then we were playing like rock tunes, and we don't play any of the songs we played then at all now. And it feels like there's a lot more experimental bands kind of surfacing.
Definitely.
And I'm not sure why,
Yeah.
but it's good. I'm glad it is.
I think it's a combination of a lot of people being in their bedrooms for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I feel like when everyone sort of came back, it shifted towards that experimental side a little bit more. Well, maybe just a bit more accessible. I don't know, but I'm glad because there's some really cool stuff coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Such a small place as well.
Yeah.
The amount of bands that are making different types of music, and everyone seems to be supportive of each other, which is really lovely. Because usually you get cliques in scenes that will just bands hang out with these bands or play with these bands, but it
Mm.
seems that everyone is willing to play with each other,
Yeah,
which is quite nice.
absolutely. Yeah. No, cool. So, in terms of, gone through establishing a sound, and we're now at a point where, you're playing some pretty decent gigs. The first time I saw you was at Dot, and that was amazing. I pooed myself slightly. I was like, finally, this is the sound I was sort of looking for. It was so cool.
Oh, thanks.
And I love synth music. I really love different elements of EDM, and having that within the sort of metally, grindy, but also like sort of poetry on a different level as well. It had this sort of really multi-faceted.
That's just because I can't sing. But
no,
thanks, man.
No. I think it works. If you were,
Thanks, man.
I don't know. It feels like all the elements are so well fleshed out, and hearing it from what you guys are saying is really interesting. It feels like what you're describing is what I've consumed.
Cool.
Over those years, it's developed, and everyone's sort of feeling and seeing what they want to do, and you're adding your element. Everyone's adding different elements. So bringing it up to sort of maybe now. And this new EP, and obviously your single's out at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. Sort of precursor to the EP. What was the thinking behind that, and how was the writing process for it? And then we can maybe talk about the sort of aesthetic choices around it.
Yeah. So the Platform 1, the single that's out from it, I wrote the riff for that in like 2019, like really early. HAAL. I remember it was in lockdown as well. And it was very much based on the fact that we were making demos, playing them in a sort of practice room, and realising that it was still that kind of rocky sound that we were talking about, and it just didn't work. And then it was a sort of silly riff, or it felt silly because it felt like it didn't fit with any of our other tunes. So it was like, right, let's do a stupidly heavy one and see if that works, if that sticks or anything. And I remember when we played it first in the practice room, we all came out going, "Oh right, this is what it should be, really."
Play that song every time.
Yeah, we'll play that song every single time. And that was kind of paved the way for it to be a bit darker, a bit heavier in that sense. But for this EP, I mean, when did we record it? Late 2022. It's ages ago now, and we kind of wanted to kind of cap off the last 2 or 3 years of HAAL, in the sense because we had Judy and Janus come out before, and Memorial, which we recorded ourselves, but we don't really play them live anymore. And it felt like it's a kind of next chapter that we want to go on to and be a bit more, not electronic focused, but lean into more kind of experimental, abstract sounds. And I suppose this EP is the sort of maybe the beginning of that. Yeah. But whilst also honouring the development. This EP feels a lot different from the stuff we've released already, I think. Even though we've played most of the tunes live. So people go, "Oh, I know, I've known that one," if they've seen it live.
But I don't know, there was also, for me, seeing these tunes being played, obviously I think that's actually the first stuff I heard live.
Right.
I don't know, for me it was kind of like, every time I saw it, because funny enough, every time I see like Cannibal Lydia or like different mates of mine, we'd end up at a gig and then we'd see you and then we'd be like, okay, that sounded like it sounded even better that time. And it was kind of funny because it just sounds like, again, it sounds like a sort of labour of love, one of these things which is like developing, sort of fine tuning, and especially of an electronic element. I don't know if you could touch on this, Ethan, maybe. How does something which there's so many finite controls and so many things that you can do to change the entire sort of feel of, let's say, the end of a song or the whole set list itself. How does your performance maybe develop, and how does it for example on this EP, how's it been writing basically?
It's basically just jamming when we're practicing all the time. It's just finding it out, and then like they'll be there playing the riff over or something, and I'll be like, I have sort of an idea of what I want to do, and then I'll try and do it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, that's kind of what it needs. It's not like a whole lot of thought behind it. It's just like gradually finding it through sometimes random tweaking of stuff, but yeah, just like going on a path with all the controls and that.
Yeah, it really is just like kind of pissing about with a riff.
Yeah.
And then one of us will go, Ethan, can you make this sound? And he'll go, yes, okay. And then it will work or it won't work. But everyone's so good at their instruments. The others, I mean, sorry, that sounded big headed. We're so sick.
No.
But they're so talented, the rest of the guys in the band, that I kind of trust them to do what they want to do.
Yeah. And
even though one of us might come with an idea, it doesn't always usually stay like that, because the others will then flesh it out with their own sort of idiosyncratic licks and improving. Like, it's interesting because everyone comes from different backgrounds as well, and I think that's what makes the sound weird, because we're not all trying to go, let's be a post-rock band, let's be a trip-hop band or whatever. It's Ethan into metal and house and techno. Joe on both the Joes, so Joe on bass and Joe on drums. They're more kind of like indie background, I suppose. And then I suppose I'm the one that likes math rock in that sense, and then it kind of coalesces into some sort of weird sound. Like I think I've said before, but the kind of the genres that we get compared to, I don't think we would get accepted by the sort of the followings of those genres.
Yeah.
So like there'll be people that go, they're not a post-rock band, and it's like, I agree, but it's like, unfortunately you have to kind of get pigeonholed into sort of like a descriptive word to describe something that may be inherently non-descriptive. Like you just have to listen to it. I don't know.
No, but I guess it's kind of a part of the slight sort of consumerist element of music.
Yeah,
it's
of how to sell it.
You have to sell it, and you have to unfortunately put it into a genre.
But a yard under capitalism, eh?
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's super interesting, and I think I'd love to hear about that process. That's fascinating, especially I'm a photographer and I've worked in different collaborative sort of elements, and I found that generally speaking, working with other people is just so much more enjoyable.
Definitely.
I love it, and it sounds like you guys really thrive off that. Do you maybe want to talk about the collaboration element of the EP? No, for sure.
So it's interesting you said it, because there's so many times like I will write the tune by myself, take the demo, and then it will completely turn into something else. But I've always got an idea of what I want it to look like or sound like, and then you kind of, what's the word? Almost in an egotistical way, you think that your way of doing something is right. Then you hear someone else's opinion that's as invested as you are. You go, oh Christ, why don't I think about it? That's so much better. And luckily we are friends with so many cool people that are really proficient in their various areas. So Chris Burton, he's our mate from school as well. He came up from TIV. He does all of our graphics design, so he'll done our logo, he does our posters. But for this EP, he's kind of overseen the entire creative direction of it.
Right.
And because he used to work for, I can't remember the name of them unfortunately, but he used to work for this quite cool graphics company in London. He knows how to do something professionally, so he will give you like a treatment.
Right.
So we'll send him the EP, we'll send him the tracks, we'll kind of give him the vibe of the lyrics and stuff, and then go, right, Chris, what are you thinking? And he goes, he'll break it down into like a 20-page PDF document of going, here's some imagery from this feeling that I'm getting, here's this imagery, why don't we blend it together, have a chat? And from that we ended up becoming some sort of like culty, ritualistic, I'm not even sure like what it became, but yeah, he basically gave us the sort of the whole aesthetic for this EP, and then based off that we then handpicked our like mates who are photographers, filmmakers, artists, to kind of come together and bring their take on what Chris had given us. And then based off that we kind of had him, it wasn't a written narrative, was it? But it was very much, we wanted, I mean, we've got like this stone, this like massive rock, like stone tablet thing.
Is that a real rock?
No, it's plastosate, I think it's called. But a really cool person called Ivy Upjohn, who she's in a kind of art collective called Clump Collective, and they do a lot of cool stuff for loads of people, like Folly Group, Divorce, Katie J. Pearson, but they're Bristol based, and they're very much, I think it's kind of like their passion project really, but she's a prop maker and she'll do the prop design, she'll do set designs for their music videos and stuff. And essentially I knew that I was like, because we had this HAAL logo which is almost just a shape, it's kind of meaningless to an extent, but I quite like the element of mucking about with ambiguous imagery that might conjure up feelings of something in someone but you don't know why, and for some reason the HAAL logo kind of freaks me out a bit because it looks like some sort of old perennial symbol from ancient times, and I was like, wicked. Imagine if you found that at Stonehenge or something like that. Gave that to Chris, that idea to Chris then designed it. He just went, here you go. And it's like, you would pay these people loads of money to do it because he's our mate.
Wow.
He'd done most of it for free. And he gave us that design. We talked to Ivy and she was like, yeah, cool, I can create that for you. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, amazing.
She did it. I was so surprised about how good it was.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe we were being a bit too ambitious with it, but it just shows how talented some people are.
Yeah. Also, like how willing people are to give their time up.
Yeah, exactly. Ivy's been wicked, man. I haven't actually met her. I need to thank her in real life. But yeah, essentially it's all been led off that. Wanted to do kind of ritualistic thing, but employing all of our mates in a creative fashion so we can kind of showcase their work as a sort of accompaniment to ours, because I don't have a clue with art or press photos or anything. I hate press photos, like having to kind of straight face, not for me. That's why we had masks. Which are IKEA placemats, by the way, are on our face.
Bosh.
I was literally trying to figure out
wicker placemats.
It's amazing. It's like proper.
Lydia made those actually. For us.
Lydia.
But I got that based off medieval beekeepers. That's what they look like. So good blend of old culty imagery, kind of created something unsettling, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I think it makes for a cool narrative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you think that's something which you want to keep on continuing, or do you reckon it might deviate?
I think so. It's always been fun with it, because for Janus, the tune that came out like a year and a half ago, our mate Will, who again went to school with, really talented person, incredible sort of computer design animator, does loads of cool stuff. He made us a music video. What was it? I don't know what it was on, but it's 3D. We're in it as well.
It looks like Blender.
Right. That makes sense. I remember him saying that before. But that was I think it was his dissertation for uni.
Wow.
So he was like, we'll just double up. He was like, I'll make you guys a music video, and it means that I can submit something for uni, and technically I'm doing work.
Oh, amazing.
Incredible. And he made the majority of our visuals that we have live projecting on us, because again, we don't move around enough on stage. We're not interesting to look at in that way. We don't put a show on in that way, so we'd rather find someone who believes in the vision enough and wants to showcase their art, and everyone can just look at that instead whilst I've got my head down.
Absolutely. Nice. I think that's, again, such an amazing way to bring in multiple different artists.
Exactly.
And showcase not only your music and the people that are involved in it, but visualizing some art. And all the stuff. The live show particularly, there was. I think it's that music video. It's like, I remember seeing one of I think it's your face. One of those characters.
Plastered onto the model.
It's just absolutely hilarious. But I remember seeing that live and being like, sick. Really cool. Really cool. It has that sort of like retro, like PlayStation 2.
I think he got like the background. Someone had made like it was a PS1 game or something. He managed to contact them and ask if he could use like I don't know what you call it or whatever, but the setting, like the background of it. Assets, I suppose. But then he made the characters and
he like
scanned
took
us all in
photos
and
of
everything and put it all on.
Exactly.
Amazing.
But based off that, it was a kind of narrative that we wanted to kind of some sort of transhumanist sort of uploading your mind to a computer and all that. I think it's just interesting to piss about with stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When would you ever get to do that, really?
No. Yeah. I mean, music's a great, platform to do it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to not easy, but you can embed so many, narratives and different messages that you want to convey or just want to explore, even if it doesn't mean anything. Like some of my favourite songs, a lot of the times the artist is like, I don't know what it means, but it's what you infer from it. I think you know, I've always inferred from your music this sort of like, it's like sort of apocalyptic yet like beautiful. Like, I don't know, it's the best way I can describe it. It. To me, like, it gives me this feeling of like doom, but also
totally.
like, I don't know, there's like this sort of, I don't know, it's maybe that's just my take on it, but I think that is something which, you know, I haven't seen many artists do it in your specific unique way, and I think that's a very, very cool thing to have. And it's exciting, you know. So I've got written down here that you've got some gigs coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
When are they?
I think I've got it. I know it's somewhere. Here we go. We're digging deep. So 6th of July is the one in London, George's Tavern.
6th of June.
June.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. No, 6th of June in London.
18th of June.
And then 18th of May. There you go. They're a month out. There you go. See, I didn't even barely knew him. Yeah. We've got some shows. I think.
Yeah, no, we'll link those in the description as well.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be exciting. Lanes. Is it? Yeah.
No, so it's 18th of May is at Rough Trade. Yeah. We play Lanes all fucking time now.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
absolutely
cool.
fine.
All the
Absolutely
fuck.
fine. Yeah.
And yeah. So we just wanted to do a bit of a change, really. And then Rough Trade's got a really cool new big sound system installed like last year, I think. And it just sounded particularly massive when we played there last time.
It's good.
And then we're playing with Jerome, who is like a wicked. I think they're a duo, but it's kind of like industrial, angelic. Like, it's really peculiar music. It's very cool. And I haven't seen them live. I basically wanted them to support us because it means that I get to see them live, really. And they said yes, which is very nice.
Amazing. Yeah.
But I know Annalisa from Jerome, she does the sound for Scalar as well, so it's like heavily involved in that scene. So I can only imagine that they would put on a wicked show as well. And then there's another duo called Echidna as well, and we played with them at the Windmill in London last year, and hadn't heard of them before, but I think they're local as well. And again, it's kind of like Bjork and Massive Attack together. It's amazing. It's like really wicked industrial big electronic sound, but then the singing is like beautiful over the top of it. Yeah.
That's gonna be some
makes us look shit.
Yeah. There's gonna be some proper gigs.
Yeah, man.
It'll be big sounds.
Yeah. And then George Tavern in London on the 6th of June.
Yeah, I will put those in the description because I completely whiffed both of those. Yeah, amazing. I'm just trying to think, you know, maybe expanding on that EP, that what have been generally your influences going into it? You know, any specific artists, or just, you know, the writing process, as you said, has taken, you know, different forms and it's developed over time. So, you know, are there any specific influences in that? Or is it purely just dicking about? I don't know.
It's just, I think mainly it's just being in the practice room and just jamming and just kind of seeing what happens. Maybe there are influences, but not really thought about too much.
Yeah, we've got our base influences of bands we like, I think, that might have informed what we like, but we haven't gone necessarily in there to go, let's make a this EP or a that EP.
Yeah.
Like my guitar basically is a rip-off of early Biffy Clyro, like the first 3 albums. And I know when I say Biffy Clyro, people are like, what do you mean? Like stadium rock band, like pop rock. But their first 3 albums are like post-hardcore. It's like it's amazing, like maffy, weird tunings, weird chords, and some of them are kind of almost shameless. But because for whatever reason it seems to be buried under obscurity because they've become a pop band now.
Right.
I can get away with it. But then it's basically those kind of riffs with Ethan's wicked kind of sound design around it. But like lyric wise, it's, again, I don't like to write my own feelings or anything too much because it's cringe. But it was a lot of books that I was reading. So one particular book called The City and the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke, wicked, so cool. And I basically nicked a lot of ideas and phrases off that, and then have kind of put it together or recontextualized it, I think, because a lot of the lyrics are very much just quotes from books, people, I think it's artists talking about their paintings and stuff like that, and then trying to conjure something new out of that. It's almost like, you know, when you put samples in a song to then recontextualize it, and I think I can try and do that with lyrics because it's quite interesting.
Absolutely. And is there any driving force specifically towards, let's say, poetry or books?
I think so. A lot of it is kind of spoken word, but purely because I either can't sing and play the riff at the same time,
yeah.
or it just suits the mood to do that better.
Yeah.
Because we were a lot more singy based at the start, and then have become increasingly more so spoken word.
Yeah.
But I want to do more singing though.
Yeah.
We've written a few other tunes that are more vocal based, where the melody is carried in the vocals instead. But again, it's really hard. Got to practice it.
Absolutely, it's terrifying.
And scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's one thing to play an instrument on stage, but it's another thing to sing.
Yeah.
I think singing is just
definitely.
like, I don't know, it's such a vulnerable reflection of
Yeah,
yourself.
It's just
Yeah.
you, isn't
And
it?
it's so easy for someone to be like, I think
Hang
I'm a
on.
bit shit at
That was
singing.
shite. Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and it's just,
Yeah.
tough.
We're speaking, you just go, that's my voice.
Yeah.
And then it starts. A thousand trains rush by at once. The reflection in the window indicates only one thing. I'm not stuck in here with you.
What's your relationship with, let's say, the upcoming EP that's happening? What's your relationship with releasing music, and the sort of feelings towards, whether it's, something for yourself, for the people that you've worked with, or if it's something that is sort of supposed to, I don't know, elevate you to bigger platforms? I know that's kind of a weird question in some ways, because, everyone obviously would love to do music or whatever as a full-time job and have it as like their full income, but what is this and that? Okay, what is it in the sort of stages of HAAL, and what's the next thing coming along? How's it elevated, I guess?
Coachella headline slot.
Wow.
Yeah. Come on. For ourselves, really, I think, and to, kind of almost like what we've been talking about, kind of showcase of our mates' arts that might not have had a platform, or maybe they were devoid of certain opportunities where they could work on something like this. But I think it's just for that, really. I mean, there's no money in the music industry unless you're like Beyonce or someone equivalent. There's no money in streaming. There's barely going to be any money in touring, I think, anymore as well, because I'm seeing loads of venues take merch cuts and stuff like that.
That's mad.
But I mean, any money that we make as such is very much just an internal economy that goes back into funding more stuff to do. I mean, we all work full-time jobs, and we're just making tunes because we like it.
Yeah.
And then playing shows is just a fun way to sort of showcase that, but whilst also being immersed in with other like-minded people that are interested in the same stuff. So it's just a good way to meet people, really, if anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't speak for you, but it's like I'm not bothered if it doesn't get any traction or what's the word, notoriety or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the EP and what we've done, and just want to make tunes, really, and
It's
chill.
just nice putting it out, I think.
Yeah.
Rather than just being, like I said, in the practice room or something, just having it out there for whatever reason, just put it out. It's just fun. It's just nice.
Yeah.
Why does anyone do anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I think something which blights a lot of the creative scene, and particularly now it's so volatile and it's very scary. It seems like a lot of people are suffering in different ways, and to continue to basically do a passion project and continue to do the things which are like, I know it's good for me, it's fun, I get to have like creative output and I get to put music out, to still do those things and work, and I mean, it is a liberty in lots of ways, but also it's just a bit shit, I think. Like the fact that it costs as much as it does to even hire a venue, and then it's not the venue's fault necessarily, they're being hit with a bunch of cuts. The whole system is a little bit fucked. I don't know what your experience of that is, and
it's, I mean, the whole country is very much, I mean, maybe even most of the world is inherently against artists, just because that's what art is basically for, isn't it? It's sort of I don't want to sound too wanky.
Mm.
Rebellion of the system, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
yeah,
a criticism of it.
Yeah.
In that sense, I mean, it would almost feel weird. I don't know if I'm just trying to justify this because I don't think that we'll probably ever make enough money where we can quit our jobs off doing this. But if we did, I would feel a bit weird doing it, I think.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes a sort of hollow version of itself. That sounds too deep, but
no.
but like, because obviously I don't besmirch anyone that does make enough money off gigging and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, if it happened, I'll go, yeah, brilliant, cool.
Yeah,
I can quit my job and stuff. But
I don't know. It does change.
It would be a different feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because I'm trying to think. What's the most we've ever been paid for a gig? £120.
150 quid.
Yeah. And like a lot of the time, especially if it's out of Bristol, it's like 80, 90 quid petrol to like get to London and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's still just going into it. And like we only just broke even from selling 100 t-shirts, which is very nice. It's like cool. There are people that like this design and want to wear this t-shirt, and enough where they want to support us as well. But it's not like we've made loads of money from it, and I don't think I'm bothered.
No,
I don't think so.
No, fair play.
Yeah.
I think that generally is the state of a lot of artists and what they're in, and you know, at least there is still, I don't know, a backbone to the scene, the creative scene generally, and I think we're lucky in Bristol that, as you said, there's a plethora, but also, you know, the people are always there to support it, and you get a lot of the same people coming to the gigs,
totally,
and it's like same faces, but they're just there to support you, and that's like, I don't know, I've heard like whispers from different places, like a place like Manchester and parts of London where they're like, you know, similar thing, but I don't know, I think we're very lucky in what we have here.
Totally.
And
Definitely.
you know, it affords us, you know, to have a good scene and to have a, you know, supportive and nice environment generally. But it's a shame everyone isn't paid more, but that's kind of just life, I guess.
Exactly. No, I think it's almost represented in the fact that housing prices in Bristol now match London or something crazy like that.
I think it's second in the country.
Christ. So it's like, it's a coveted place to live, surely. And like, there's so many cool bands that are coming out of Bristol all the time, like new bands all the time. Like literally last night I was at my mate Evo's night at the Ill Repute in Old Market, and he puts on a night with Harry Furness, plays cornet in basically every band in Bristol. But it's called No Clique, their night, and essentially they just assemble, I think, 3 or 4 groups of 4 people together who have never played together before, and they play a set. It's crazy.
Wow.
I like some of it not so great because that's the nature of it, but some of it's amazing. Like yesterday, I watched, it was a cello player, my mate Ewan playing violin, never played violin before.
Wow.
Our mate Laura, she was on bass, and then another person I don't know playing just random percussive stuff, going through loads of pedals. It was amazing. It was like a film soundtrack.
Wow.
And like, I don't think you get that in many other places.
No.
And I know for a fact that Evo's like barely making any money off this, and they're gigging all the time as well, like themselves in various other bands and projects, and it's just for the love of it, I think. And I'm sure there'll be equivalent nights and scenes that we don't know about, but it feels quite unique to Bristol, especially at this moment in time. And I think for that we're quite lucky, because I mean, all the people that were there, I've seen them, they're either in bands or they're surrounded in the scene, they're like photographers, etc. And everyone was into it. It's amazing. And no,
that's fantastic.
Very lucky to be in Bristol.
That's proper crazy jam night.
I
mean, I've done a few, but like that's like next level, whole set.
Yeah, man. I mean, Laura, like the bassist, she had never played bass on stage before, and that was her first gig. I was like, fair fucking play. Like, Jesus. And it was great. It was really good.
What?
I know.
Jealous. No, I think that's, you know, something that we always sort of fall back on. Like, we're very lucky that whatever we do, we're sort of like, we know, you know, we can put on a gig and people will come because they're people that we love and they love us, and we have a good relationship. We'll always support them, and I think that amicable, you know, relationship with everyone is just amazing. And you know, I've seen some really lovely things come out of the Bristol creative scene, and in literally in the past 4 years. It's, you know, I haven't technically been here long, and we're very lucky for it. I don't know, maybe going further afield, how is it gigging further afield from the local digs, I guess? How is it maybe gigging in London or wherever? And I don't know how many gigs you have done outside of it, but yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, right now it's okay.
There's been some good ones. Like London's generally okay. We've played quite a few places in London and have some cool bands that we play with that are very matey and very lovely, and a couple promoters that help us out and put us on. Everywhere else, it's so hard to get them to respond.
Right. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. We've tried to figure it out for a while.
Yeah.
I suppose it's just the amount of people that's obviously going to be asking for gigs.
Yeah.
And because it costs a lot to put on and to pay bands well and properly, I think promoters are probably wanting to have gigs that will sell well, just so they can fairly pay everyone, but also pay themselves a nice amount.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But then it's strange because some of the places we have played before, and you'll get promoters go, yeah, cool, this sounds good, and they'll just blank you, and it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah,
it's only so many times I can go, have you checked?
Yeah, right.
But it's the way of it, I think. I think one of the main reasons we need to record a live session, I think, because these people don't have time to come down to a gig, or they live in a different city.
Right,
they might need to see a footage of you, and like a lot of bands do that, and they seem to get booked more, and I think that's what we're missing.
Yeah,
but I might be being pedantic, I don't know.
No, I think it's definitely a good move. It seems quite trendy
I think so, and it would be nice to kind of have a sort of immortalised version of us playing live, because the sort of the live feeling is kind of different.
100%.
I mean, it's obviously going to be different, but there's a bit more energy to it, I think, and a bit more ruggedness that I think lends itself well to the music that isn't present on the actual recordings. Even though I like recordings, but I like playing live more, I think.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like everyone's little dream, isn't it? It's like I love to play live. Do you think in terms of processes, there's so many things, if you're thinking about it like a job, there are so many things you have to do to prep, to go down the process, to get your gear, get it to the gig, sound check, everything, right? And to practice for however many weeks or months you do to get it to a good state. In terms of like processes, do you think the more rewarding? And I guess that's kind of a difficult question in some ways. Like, is the recording, fine-tuning and putting out music a bit more of a satisfactory thing, or is playing on stage more of that? Because in some ways you could easily say that obviously stage has got a bit more thrill to it. Yeah. But in terms of actual process, what would be more appealing, maybe to both of you individually?
I think recording, obviously, you can make it exactly how you want, but then also that is not good in a way, because then you can fixate on it too much and try and get it too perfect, and then you're never happy with it and stuff, and it's just...
I mean, you get too close to the mix. You just lose objectivity, and then you go, this doesn't even sound like a song anymore. You're like, what is this?
Yeah. But then live, it's just how it is, and it either went well or it didn't. And when it goes well, it's like, I don't know, I think maybe that is more rewarding.
Much better. Yeah. I can certifiably say that I like playing live. I don't like recording, I don't think, because it then becomes finite, and that's the moment in time that represents that tune, where there might be certain tunes that we play live that we are still playing them based on their original structure, but we might do a little lick differently and stuff like that. Go, oh, that sounds nicer. And you'll always have more ideas after you've put a recording down. You go, fucking hell.
Like, I could have done that.
Yeah. Like at this moment, this EP, I think I'm fully cool with it. Yeah, good. Which is nice. That's lovely. Where the other tunes we've done, I'm like, fucking, why didn't I just do that then? What an idiot.
Yeah, I know so many people that have released music and they're like,
it's like,
well, they literally go back and change it, and it's
exactly.
It's very difficult to feel satisfied in the recording sense. I was asking, maybe in some ways for some people that writing element is to finally put it on paper, and to have something that you can always look back on. Izzy and I were talking about it, and we were saying how it seems like some bands just play the live circuit. They'll just play the live circuit for a couple of years, for example, and then by the time that they just put out one EP or one single, it's got the following and it's got the people, and it's known as a live band rather than
exactly like our mates band Butch Cassidy are an example of that. I think they got one tune out. They released like 3 or 4 years ago,
right?
But they're like a crazy band live, like just very thrashy, very full on.
Yeah.
And I think they've got a booking agent because they're so good live.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't have any tunes. It's like they must have just been picked up at that time. But they're getting to play loads of cool slots and festivals and stuff. Yeah. And props to them for doing that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you can always look back and find out, what's the word? You can reflect too much and go, well, you should have done that then, or this then, or whatever. But you also have to let go and just go, it is what it is, especially with the recording element of it.
Yeah.
I mean, for this EP in particular, we had a label on board from Brighton. Right. I won't name them.
Yeah.
But
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I said from Brighton. Cut that. They were like the first one that replied to us, and they loved it, and we're like, fucking brilliant. This is our target.
Yeah.
And they then were like, cool, we're going to release this EP. We also want you to do 2 albums for us with no advance, like no money, like to make the albums. And we were like, okay, cool. Thanks for this. Yeah. But at the same time, it costs money to make. It's like,
did they reply to that?
Yeah, and the response was, "We're not the label for you." Then it's like, well, what label? Who are you for then? Like,
what label
everything costs money, man.
Expects you to do it for free.
I know, and it's like, it's not that I want, or any of us want.
No.
Give us 10 grand up front.
Yeah.
We're just like, can you just help us with the recording costs of it? We know that it might not make money, but if you like it enough creatively, does that not then mean something?
Isn't that what labels were supposed to do in the first place?
That's the point of
it's
a label.
They take a chance.
Yeah.
They support artists, and then hopefully that gives them both what of money.
Yeah. And annoyingly, that's why we recorded this EP in like late 2022. Right. That took up most of last year.
Right.
Because they were so on and off, and our manager George, who's basically our mate really, but they're brilliant. They were having to sort of argue on our behalf, because as soon as they were like, do you want to do these 2 albums for free, because I really like the label, I was like, yeah, I don't care, let's do it. And George's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I was like, I don't give a shit, let's just do it.
But maybe that's the play, they're sort of saying, because we've got whatever respect and we're a big name, that's bullshit.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
It's funny because I would sort of appreciate it more if they were a massive label, but they're quite culty, but they release a lot of stuff on record and sell it out, and I'm not going to spend too much time getting annoyed about them.
Probably shouldn't.
But so annoying because they are a wicked label. Yeah. But it's way of it, art and capitalism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, no more shame.
Became a counselling session.
Yeah, right. Maybe we could talk about the actual recording of the EP and some people you could shout out, perhaps.
Cool.
Absolutely. Well, we recorded it all at the Louisiana.
Yeah.
With Alfie Tyson Brown. Biggest of ups to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Coolest man alive, I reckon.
Yeah. How long did he work with you guys on this EP?
6 months altogether, but it was maybe like 4 sessions, like 3 or 4 sessions.
Yeah.
But he's a sound engineer that he does stuff for loads of people. He does monitors for Gaz Coombs.
Wow.
It's quite cool.
That's crazy.
But we met him because he was just doing our sound at Louisiana when we were playing a gig about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he basically came up to us and was like, if you're recording, can I do it, please?
Right.
And we'd recorded before with another engineer, but we were very much a job to them, I think. They were very much just the engineer there. Yeah. And they were great. They did a good job, but it wasn't very personable.
Right.
And there wasn't much room to experiment with them because it was very much 9 to 5.
Get it done.
We're off. Yeah. Where Alfie, I mean, he gave us mates rates, like discount, but also let us pay him in various installments.
Wow.
Because we were like, we haven't got the money now, but we really want to record.
Yeah.
He was like, it's all right, we'll just do that. And like, I came in, did some vocal dubs and stuff like over the top just with him, and because it was at Louisiana, we just got some pints in.
Nice.
Lovely. Got a bit pissed and then just recorded it with him. But he's so involved in the creative process. His sort of his enthusiasm for it, as well as his actual talent for what he does. Yeah. It's a perfect combination.
Amazing.
It made the song so much better, like, than we thought could happen, because I mean, he's a genius. I don't say that lightly. I'm not exaggerating. He really is so good at what he does.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who I want to shout about.
Yeah.
I also want to shout about Mig, who runs Louisiana as well, because he's just given us so many chances from the start, and always been so supportive. And they've had a million bands play there, but he's always got the time to chat and respond to any questions we've got. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Very, very. I mean, you're very fortunate, but also, just amazing people.
Yeah.
Respect to them, and I think, again, in any of these processes, those are the sort of people you need.
Yeah, thank God.
You need personable, like, I don't know, real people, that, genuine people that will be there for you, and do a really solid job for you. And it sounds like, again, from the beginning of your formation of this band and this project, this whole collaborating and sort of using each other as sort of platforms to keep on elevating, and it's like the perfect culmination.
Definitely.
In my head, it feels like it's all come perfectly to there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I also want to big up Joe, who's in the band as well, the bassist Joe, and the other Joe. They're both great. They're both great. But Joe makes the majority of our pedals,
right?
And he's a sort of quiet genius. He won't talk about it too much, and it's so much so that I've always said to him, I'm like, you should really flog these pedals like to people in the scene, but I think he doesn't want to, and it's very much just a passion project for him. Undercuts the pedal market in an incredible way, so any pedal that any of us want, he'll just like find the clone of it, make it, and then make it better, because he'll mod it as well. It's amazing, because that would be like one of the most expensive part of being a musician, is buying gear.
It's the gear.
I mean, I think I've bought 2 of my pedals on my pedal board. It's amazing. So lucky.
Well, that's a really interesting insight. I didn't know that there is a very unique sound to your guys' music, and definitely that pedal element, that's fascinating.
It's so lucky, man.
Yeah, that's
great.
He's
Holy
got
grail.
one particular pedal that he's dubbed the Joey Special,
right? Yeah,
and all it does, in a kind of rudimentary explanation, because I don't have the pedal knowledge,
for sure,
makes it sound better.
Yeah.
He said it's like taking a blanket off the amp, and he's right.
Nice, yeah.
He's managed to sell one to Alfie, Tyson Brown, the mix engineer, and also, is it James from Scalar? I think he's made one for him.
I think he
as
said
well.
he really likes the sound of it.
So I
think he made one.
That's a
Joey
big
Special
flex.
Man. He should patent it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make him a millionaire.
That's the business right there. That's how HAAL's making their money.
Pedals. Try and flog them at shows. I genuinely.
HAAL pedals.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The next level. Wow, amazing. Okay, do you want to just run through the dates of when the EP and where people can find it?
Cool. You can find the EP online. First track, Platform 1, 1819, is out now. We've got the next single that's unannounced at the moment. That's coming out on April 15th. It's called Vinculum. And then the EP is out on 10th of May. And then release shows 18th of May in Bristol and 6th of June in London.
Absolutely smashed it.
Woo.
Absolutely smashed it. Clean slate. Well, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, Izzy.
Cheers, Izzy, for sound engineer. See you guys soon. Bye.